So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first workshop of the day, and please help me welcome Dr. Q. Moya. And the title of this workshop is going to be Change, a Case for Life. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello and a most wonderful good morning. Jó reggelt, szia! How's it going, guys? Yes. My name, ahoy, yeah, do we have any checks here? Someone said ahoy? Well, so it shall be an intimate US-Hungarian gathering here, I guess. My name is Dr. Q, and I'm very honored to have been asked to guide you through this workshop today. I've been a Toastmasters for over 6 years on both sides of the Atlantic, and I've moved to Budapest about 4 or 5 years ago. I have 25 years of public speaking experience. I know you might not necessarily see it, but it's the Botox that makes me look sexy and young. What can I say? A few housekeeping notes here to make sure that we all get the most out of this workshop. It's not a lot of people, but still, if I raise my hands, folks, if I raise my hand, you raise your hands, and everyone else knows, oh, hand is up, so you zip it up and bring your attention back to me. Easy. Then that's a workshop. It's not a monologue. It's not a speech. It's a workshop. So that means your participation is very much appreciated. Then I will not be sharing with you boring academic research by referring to Harvard reviews and the likes. I'm a lot more into personal and interpersonal experiences and hands-on guy, even though I have experienced and enjoyed a rather extensive academic past, because the Dr. Q is not just for shits and giggles, it's a real one. Then I thought I would take you on a personal journey through my life, hoping that I can share with you my 2 cents when it comes to change. The whole purpose of this workshop today is to raise awareness that change happens all the time, for you to embrace change, deal with it, and utilize it. That's the whole purpose of my workshop. Hence, change, a case for life. Having said that, let's get to the meat of things. Ready? Cool. I just need a clicker here somewhere. Hiding it. There you go. I hope it works. I tested it. Perfect. So I'm sharing with you my own personal philosophies, and I boiled it all down to 3 golden nuggets for you to take home. Keeping it simple. I want to just establish the basics first. So this is not a test. There is no right or wrong. All I need is your participation. Who has ever experienced any sort of change? Who has experienced expected change? And who has experienced unexpected change? And who has experienced a change that was positive? Wow, you like that one. And who has experienced a change that wasn't so positive after all? Really, folks, all of us should have had our hands up to all of these things. Reason being, all I'm trying to establish here is that we're all in the same boat. We are experiencing change throughout our lives. Expected ones and unexpected ones, positive ones, and ones that are not necessarily ones that we like. So it's an awareness exercise. We're in the same boat. Whether we want it or not, whether we're aware of it or not, whether we have any say in it or not, change is happening permanently and perpetually. I promise you I'll take you on a personal journey. I'm brutally honest to you about my own life, hoping that I can motivate you and encourage you to embrace change. First time I experienced this was when we had to flee Iran in 1979. I grew up, believe it or not, as a part Catholic, part Baha'i in a Muslim country. And in 1979, when a revolution happened, Baha'is were not only persecuted, imprisoned, but also tortured and killed. So we had to flee, period. And that's, as a kid, when I realized you can be king one day, because my daddy was fairly wealthy, and a pauper the next. You can imagine that change wasn't very easy to cope with. But you deal with it at some point. Even if you now sat in your seats for the rest of eternity, in theory that is, of course, lots of changes would be happening. Obvious ones. Temperature's changing, it's getting colder now. Seasons are changing. It seems that winter finally is arriving. Time is ticking away, tick, 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 tick. You're getting older. To the maybe not so obvious ones. The Danube continues to flow downstream past this beautiful parliament that we have in Budapest. Babies are being born, people die. Your body gets renewed. Did you know that your skin gets renewed every 2 to 4 weeks? So some of you might say, wow, hooray, no more wrinkles. The issue is you lose collagen and elasticity. So the only way to fix that will be to using some Botox and a nip and tuck here and there. How does it look on me, by the way? Your hair changes every 3 to 6 years. Your intestinal cells every 3 to 5 days because they're exposed to highly corrosive stomach acid. And last but not least, your liver changes every 5 months. But it's just for the healthy tissue, though. Once they're scarred, no more renewal. So my lovely friends from Hungary, please do enjoy your palinka responsibly. Palinka is a distilled brandy here in Hungary, so that you know. You're welcome. So change happens, expectedly, unexpectedly. It comes gradually or abruptly. It's positive or not so positive. Welcomed and not so welcomed. It might come as a gift or not so much. It might energize you or overwhelm you. Now, allow me to share with you my first golden nugget. Everything changes all the time. Now you might say, what? That's a golden nugget? I know that already. But that's a fundamental statement, I should say. One that took me until my 30s to fully grasp. Because in my mind, I realized I was holding on to situations, thinking they would last forever. Believing they were gospel, unchangeable. And then a change would happen and I would be shocked that a change just had happened. Stopping me from leading a consciously created life and to enjoy life per se. Because there is, in my mind, I thought, these are unchangeable realities. Now, if you are brutally honest with yourselves too, and look deep, deep, deep down, I assure you, you do the same. When you were kids, for example, you thought you'd be a student forever. You'd be living with your parents forever. You'd be living in the same house or apartment forever. You had the same friends forever. You have the same job forever. Now, I, of course, understand that intellectually, you know that things do come to an end and change at some point. I don't talk about your intellectual capacities. I'm talking about your mind and your soul, your emotions. Believing that nothing ever changes. That you are in a capsule of reality, stuck in it, as if it is reality per se. Now let's do a little exercise here. We are at an international Toastmasters meeting. And one of the awesome parts of Toastmasters is you get to meet people from all walks of life. And it's a perfect playground to throw at you some change, unexpected change, and drag you out of your comfort zones. So as soon as the music starts, I want you to get out of your seats and go and talk to a person that you do not know yet. Introduce yourselves, because you do not know the person yet. State where you're from, and then share with the person only one thing, a reality you thought that would never change. And then the other person does the same. And I want you to do so with at least 3 people while the music lasts, 3 different people, using 3 different realities you thought would last forever. I'll give you an example. Hello, my name is Q, and I now live in Budapest. And I really thought that I'd be living in the US for the rest of my life. And then the other person will start, and then you go to another person and another person. And while we're doing so, we're listening to some awesome music. Let's get cracking. It works perfectly fine with 200 people in the crowd, but we've seem to have troubles with 15. Oh my lordy, holy smokes. I haven't given a presentation to such a small crowd in a long time, but it is quite awesome because I can look into your eyes, connect with you, be part of you. Very cool. And folks, we're still in the fundamental parts of it, just laying the foundation stone here. It's an awareness step, yet still. And there is no right or wrong answers. Anyone who's willing to share a reality you thought, a situation you thought would never change.
I'm thinking that, or I'm feeling that the knowledge which I have already is never going to fade away, or it's going to stay with me.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else? Don't be shy. There is no right or wrong answer. It's just an awareness exercise. Bea.
I think that I will always be a Toastmaster.
A reality?
That's what my thoughts are. Like, this is something
that you always be a Toastmaster.
Yeah, I don't think it will change.
Okay, cool.
I change where and in which form, but somehow I have this feeling.
Perfect. Anyone else? Don't be shy. Cheap Rose in the back.
My name is Eva, and I think I will always love Vodafone, the company I work for. It's because I can completely, I understood the basic values, the core values of it, and I'm completely in agreement with that. So I would like it.
Cool. So you think you'll be working for the same company for the rest of your life?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay, then I misunderstood.
I always love this company.
You always like the company. Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. No, it's good to ask. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Don't be shy, folks. It's just an awareness. So you see where everyone else is.
Well, it's only a big one, but I think it's essential one. My personal slogan is "Life is change." So I believe anything changes, but one of the most amazing one has to do that we are here today. It was the unexpected, really, fall of the Iron Curtain at that time. Because
correct.
2 weeks before, nobody could expect it that could be so peaceful
yes.
and change so much. I think I love that. That's a personal story.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I was just trying to make you aware of realities that you all carry in your minds. We all do. I'm no different to you. We all do. We think that certain things always remain the same. And then get shocked when we don't end up being with Toastmasters for our entire lives, for example, or whatever else that might happen to you. Panta Rei. Everything flows. 2,500 years ago, Heraclitus observed the river that was flowing through his hometown of Ephesus in ancient Greece. And when he looked at the river, he realized that it's not the same river he's looking at. That he was looking at the day before, and the day before that, and the week before that, and the months before that, because he did so by observing the same river for a very long time. He's the guy who really changed our minds because he realized on a very big and at the same time small scale that it's not the same water that's flowing past me now. It's not the same fish. Pebbles might have moved. Everything flows. Nothing ever remains the same. And this is one of my main guiding mottos in life. One that I actually have tattooed on my arm. So when I meditate, I always focus on that. Panta Rei, everything flows, Heraclitus. My own personal awakening started as a teenager. I battled cancer for 3 years. I led a life in and out of hospital for 3 years. You can imagine, not fun times at all. And this year, by the way, is the 30th anniversary of me surviving cancer. Yay! So to all of you who have suffered from any major illness or their loved ones, Lark, my heart goes out to you because I can relate. I really can. And I was the only one who survived in his room. And that's when I realized that our minds, or I started to wonder, because I was still a teenager from 16 to 19, I started to wonder if our mind, our thoughts, the way we think about things, has an impact on our healing and the way we experience life. I just started to wonder at the time because I was fairly young then still. And I've had to overcome many challenges since, I assure you. Health ones and others, and I've shared with you some, and I will share with you more. And I hope that by now you've realized that I give my all to you because I want to motivate you so that ultimately you hopefully can lead a more self-consciously created life and not fall victim to happenstance. If there's one thing, and only one thing, guys, that I would want you to take away from today's workshop, just one, would be my second golden nugget. Only one, you can forget everything else. But if you can remember this might help you through some challenging times. A change happens. Situation stays for a while, however long that while might be, and then it goes away again. So my second gold nugget for you to take home is, come on in, join us. Go to the cheap rows in the back, the rows of shame for latecomers. A change happens, stays for a while, and it goes away again. And that's a very powerful golden nugget, I assure you. One that I internalized by attending a Vipassana meditation retreat 10, 15 years ago. It's a meditation retreat where people are taught to meditate the way the Buddha himself taught his followers thousands of years ago. We boiled it down into modern society these days, but it's run by Vipassana Institute across the globe. It's a 2-week-long silent meditation retreat where you meditate 10 hours a day. And silent means not only not speaking, no communication at all. So you keep your eyes down, even though you're with 100 people, no communication whatsoever allowed. The system is so well set up that you still get to eat and use bathrooms and you clean it all yourselves. There is a system behind it. But once it starts, no communication at all, so that you can focus on your own journey. I'm telling you folks, tough. And I've done many things in my life, I assure you, more than most. Tough as nuts. The whole purpose is for you to observe yourself and the change that goes on inside of you. When you sit for hours no end, pain will come to you. If you don't move, not even an iota, not 1 millimeter for 10 minutes, I assure you, your limbs will start falling asleep. Pressure points all over your body will start, turning it into an seemingly insurmountable heap of pain, real and imagined. If you don't believe me, I challenge you. Do this, either today or when you have time. Just sit still the way you are now, in a relaxed way for 10 minutes. Don't move at all, because we're not used to that. We always twitch a little bit here and there, adjust ourselves. And so we never feel the pain. But if you cannot move anymore, oh boy, huge challenge. And what I learned then is pain happens. Change comes. It stays for a while, however long that while might be. But it goes away again. You simply breathe through it. In a meditation, which can be taken as a symbol for life. No matter what you do, change happens all the time. Pressure point here starts, and another one. The first one goes away, another one comes, your limb falls asleep, and so forth. And as long as you stay focused and breathe through it, you'll survive. The gift in this for you folks, and the one that I took on board for my own life, twofold. One, during challenging times. Whatever the challenge might be. You go through divorce. You lost a loved one. You lost a job. Change happened. Rest assured, it will stay for a while. But know that it will go away again, however long that while might be. So when you go through tough times, know that it has happened. You're in it now. You're going through divorce now. But at some point, it's over. Another change happens then. And many, many changes in the meantime too, because we're in a perpetual state of change. And on the positive side, when you won the lottery, or got a promotion, a baby's born, you fell in love, or you walk through a forest on a sunny day, seize the moment. Change has happened. You're walking through the forest on a sunny day. It stays with you for a while, but also that comes to an end. If it's a tough time, no, it just stays for a while. And if it's a good time, seize it. Breathe it in as much as you can, because it won't stay with you forever. Whatever forever might mean. After I had done this retreat, and I've done many things, I assure you, not just this one. A little personal story, because you might say, he's just, talking blah, blah, this old man here on stage, full of Botox and nip and tuck here and there. In 2001, I started a tour operating business with a friend of mine in Washington, D.C. And on September 11th, we operated our very first trip as a company. Oh boy. In 2007, it's all true. Everything that I tell you is true. In 2007, our success was recognized by Entrepreneur magazine, which is a reputable, big business magazine in the United States, as being among the 250 fastest growing businesses in the entire country. Little did I know that just 2 years later, my company will go bust, and I would have to declare personal bankruptcy due to the financial meltdown that had befallen the world in 2008. Tough, folks. Very tough. But by then I knew change has happened. It stays for a while, as shite as it might be, but it goes away again. Rest assured that I have rebuilt myself since. I lead a much more relaxed life, much more financially secure than before. So I hope I can just motivate you, encourage you to go through it, knowing that more or less everything happens up here. Good news is that I'm not a magician. I have no special skills, really. I wasn't raised by Buddhist monks in a temple in Nepal, where they taught me how to walk through walls or bend time. At least I don't know how to do so yet. And I don't believe that you neither, which makes us all equals. The good news is, if I can do it, you can too. That simple. Remember the first exercise we did? You sharing with people realities you thought would never change in your past and maybe present. But now I would like you can remain seated and talk to your neighbor. If you don't know the person yet, introduce yourself. It's always the kind thing to do, polite thing to do. And share with the person a reality, a change that has happened to you, done to you, and you had no say in it whatsoever, and it yet impacted you. Very simple. Hey, my name is Q, and we had to flee Iran due to a revolution in 1979. I had no say in it at all, zero, and yet it impacted us hugely. One day king, next day pauper. And then you swap. We all have about a minute, each one, so you can lay out the story so the other person understands the situation, and then you swap, and the other person does the same. When I raise my hand, you know it's over, and I will indicate also that it's time to change. The person with the shorter hair starts. And if there is one who needs a partner, because you're sitting by yourself, let me know so we can match you up as well. So there's 2, 2, 2. There is one, this guy, Ivan, sits by himself. And then 2, 2, 2. And then I can deal with you, madam, the two of us. Okay, let's get rolling, folks. Go, Misha, I want to share. There's got to be some situations. Isa, cheap rose in the back. I give an opportunity to be in the spotlight. You're welcome. Welcome to Toastmasters.
I had a similar experience to yours. When I was 9 years old, there was a revolution in my country. We didn't have to flee for our lives, but I was very scared for the lives of my beloved ones.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Just telling you, we're all in the same boat. Tobias.
I've got a long-time friend. I met him when I was in school 10 years, and we went together, and I haven't seen him for 10 to 17 years or something. And it was now 3 years ago when I had a conference in Hamburg. I was living with his family there. I said, okay, when I'm going there, just you join, and he gave me, was my host, and we talked all the evenings along, and it was like old times, so there's no distance. You may know that feeling when you have a friend, you know, and then you have this feeling, and 10 days later he got a stroke, And until now, it's not here. His family is trying to do it, but he is really locked in some way. So he's living, he's in, but he has hardly a way to communicate. And this was the moment when I realized how fast life can change, and I was so thankful that I have made this decision to go to this conference and share the time with him. Although the conference was, I missed something of the conference, so that was something. Really say, use the time you have.
Thank you.
How can you?
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. We're gradually approaching the peak of this workshop. What is the one, the only common denominator in the changes that you've gone through? There's only one. What is the one common denominator in all the changes that you have gone through your lives? It's you. That's the one common denominator in all the changes. You, and how you react to change, and how you feel about change. It's you. Hence, third and last golden nugget. Huge revelation here. I'm a big supporter and believer in self-responsibility. By now, we have realized that change happens all the time. Change stays for a while and then goes away again. That the only common denominator in all the changes in our lives is you. Your reaction to change has the biggest impact on how you experience change and your life, period. When we had to flee Iran, my father was very wealthy. We had lackeys. If you don't know what lackeys mean, they're like people that just live with you and clean after you and do this, whatever you need them to do. They do it. You just do this, and they do it. From that to paupers, if you wish. So now you can sit in a corner and cry and be a victim, or you do something about it. You're going to pull yourself out of that situation and do something. So my mom took a job, we went to school, learned language, and grow with the situation. Otherwise, I would have never ended up being here, by the way. Of course. And if you can take this on board, it will empower you through through any situation and change that comes your way. Any. Positive or negative, health-wise or other. I am a hands-on person, as I told you, like symbols, and to keep it simple. I hate if I am a bouncy ball to life. You might remember what a bouncy ball is, don't you? 50 cents, invention of 1965. Life takes you and throws you about, no knowing where the journey goes, here and there and nowhere. That's a bouncy ball. That's the last thing I want to be in my life. Every time I feel victimized, I look at my bouncy balls, and I've got several of them in my apartment. I'd much rather sit on my horse and tell my horsey where to go. I might fall off my horse, and I've done so many times, but who cares? You get back on your horse. To me, a successful person is a person who falls off his horse and gets back on his or her horse again. No matter how much you study and meditate and do whatever it is that you can do, you cannot avoid falling off the horse. It's impossible. It's impossible not be a victim, if you wish, to change in which you have no say at all, because those things happen. But what you can do is you can get back on your horse as fast as possible. I really don't care about people. They don't impress me at all. That I have a lot of money, so what? I know I was super wealthy too. Money comes, money goes. Whether they drive fancy cars, I don't even own a car, and I assure you I can afford a car by now. What I'm impressed with is a person who has fallen off his horse and gotten back on it again. Now that person I have huge respect for. Now you might say, awesome. How can I do it? Recapping the points, change happens all the time. Whether you want it or not, it's happening. And it's staying with you, whether you want it or not. And you're the one, really, who's the common denominator. Be self-responsible. And whenever you feel like a victim, remember the bouncy ball. That's the last thing you want to be. You want to be riding a horse. Of course, the question is, awesome, how can I do it? How can I do it? I told you, it's your own thoughts and emotions. We don't have much time left, but I don't want to leave you hanging here either. So how to do it would be for another day and another workshop, because you pay me the big bucks here. I'm sure you can afford the second workshop too. It is how you react to things. That's what you can change. You might say, how am I doing that? When a change happens, just observe yourselves. I need to speed it up because we don't have much time left here. You have certain emotions. And I've gone through a lot of shit in my life. Oh, mind my French here, sorry. When a change happens that you don't want, you're scared. You're confused. You feel victimized. You want to hide. You want to run. You don't want to have anything to do with it. It's not me. You're in denial. I know so because I've gone through a lot of change. That's the initial reaction. You get sick. I remember when they rushed me into the ICU when I was diagnosed with a huge heart problem. Oh, I haven't told you that one yet, have I? 6 years ago, huge heart problem. And I assure you, when they rushed me into the ICU, I almost shed myself. I'm telling you, because I thought, man, I survived so much and that's it. But by then I knew a few things about how to deal with it. Knowing the initial reaction, flight, being scared, not knowing where to go, think straight, all these things happen. Whether the business goes down or you have a health scare or a loved one gets sick. Then you've got to force your mind, I'm telling you, you've got to force your mind to change directions. And it ain't coming easy either, I'm telling you. There's a lot of homework for you to be done once you leave this workshop. But it can be done. Look at me. It can be done. So when you think flight, think I'm staying. I tell you in a little exercise that I did before I went bankrupt. King one day, pauper the next. It's 10 years ago. So I'm celebrating 10 years of surviving bankruptcy too. I put a $20 bill in my wallet. Imagine, I'm scared. It's because I pumped all my money that I had to make the baby survive this financial meltdown, and I lost. It was a gamble. So I put a $20 bill in my pocket, and I walked through the streets, and when I perused websites, I told myself, with 20 bucks, oh, I can afford that, and I can afford that too. Oh, there's a hamburger, I can afford that. Oh, there's metered parking, I can afford that too. Giving my mind a reason to focus on what I can do, not what I cannot do. Did it prevent me from going bankrupt and losing everything? No, it didn't. But when I was going through that shit times, I was focusing on a 6-figure income past this with a lot less stress. I was jogging, doing yoga, and thinking of these things. I'm telling you, thinking. That's 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And I'm exactly where I always wanted to be. I work for myself, no staff to worry about. Man, screw that. It was the most terrible stuff. I was dealing with staff, I don't have to go to an office anymore, even though it was my business. I hated going to an office. I would never, ever be in an office in my life again. So you do that. And when I was in the ICU, I told myself, look, I'm in a good unit here. I had to force myself. It didn't come easier. Okay, this machine is good for me. That's a heart surgeon. He's good. That's good. Breathe, 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 breathe. And at some point, and even if it's just 5% or 10%, I assure you, those 5 or 10% make a huge difference in your healing in you overcoming a change or situation, or creating the change that you want, a situation that you want. I don't know, you want to get married, have a child, or get a promotion in your job, whatever that might be. It's in your mind. So be self-responsible. Never feel being a victim, because that's a waste of time. Having said that, folks, I think we're running out of time here. Saying thank you so much for spending your morning with me. It was a pleasure and an honor to be your guide. Namaste, and see you soon again. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you. Thank you.